Hi Taurus, welcome to your monthly May horoscope and tarot reading. Thank you for joining me today. So welcome back if you're a regular here, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this horoscope. Taurus, it is your birthday month, so a very happy birthday to the May Taurians. It's very much a month that's all about you. We have the sun in your sign right up until the 21st. On the 4th of May, we have a beautiful new moon that is actually sextiling Neptune. Beautiful new moon in your sign. Mercury and Venus both enter your sign in May, and Uranus will be there all month. So it is very much all about Taurus. And this is very welcome by most people because it will have a very earthy energy towards people. It will be very grounding. People will want to be more practical and really have a positive appreciation for the more simple things in life. When we had all the Piscean energy, it was very much like having to sift through our own emotions. They felt very heavy at times, particularly with the Mercury retrograde. And then we had that sharp shift into Aries season where it was all about the self, and it's very, very odd. The transition from Pisces season to Aries season it can be very difficult, especially when there's some planets lurking behind, sort of pulling you back every time you try to make a move forward. But whenever it goes into your sign, I think it's going to have a very positive effect, particularly Venus. Now, Venus is your ruler, and with Venus in your sign, you're going to be the epitome of Empress energy. You're going to be charming, you're going to be seductive, to those that you wish to attract. You're going to feel really very loving and very solid in your approach to love. You're going to find it very natural, like it's going to come to you naturally. And with Mercury there as well, you're speaking everybody's language. So Taurus, because we have so much energy in your first house, people are going to be gravitating towards you the most because that is the sort of vibe that's in the air. So you're going to be at the top of the popularity poll. You may, although you're feeling very popular and very charismatic and very wanted, you may decide where you would like to redesign your life. With Uranus giving you this revolutionary feel and this shift in perspective and this almost unnatural welcoming of change, because it doesn't necessarily suit your sign. But with Uranus there, you will actually be more susceptible to shaking things up a little bit. And this new moon is sextiling Neptune. And that gives you this really lovely manifestation energy where you can tap into your real dreams and make them come true. It's a brilliant new moon for actually beginning a new friendship as well. Because Neptune is in Pisces, and for you that is your friendship sector. Now Mars in Cancer, your communication zone, is going to give you a much louder and prouder voice. You're going to be at the forefront of discussions. You're going to have more confidence in your discussion skills. You may feel a little bit more argumentative than usual, Taurus. That can be tricky because when you guys get an idea, it can be when someone disagrees with you and you're in this Mars in the third kind of mood. It's like waving the red flag to the bull, and you'll just charge forward regardless of what anybody else thinks. But sometimes that's what it takes to get things moving. And you may see where things could do with improvement more so, Taurus, because you do have that confidence. Mercury, though, even though it's in your sign and it's giving you the ability to be charming, yes, do be wary of Mars in the third because it can give you this sort of abruptness at times. And in particular, Mercury is going to conjunct Uranus on the 8th, and this may bring you some sort of surprise. It would probably not be the wisest day to book something to do with aesthetics to your physical body because it could be rather shocking in its results. That's the thing about Uranus. And in your first house of appearance, you may be I think with Mercury conjuncting it, you may not communicate effectively what it is that you want. Okay, so just be mindful of that. But if you want to dye your hair blue in that day, that's probably going to be something that nobody could talk you out of. We have a grand Earth trine in May, the Sun in Taurus, Virgo moon. It's a wonderful time for romance. This month in general is a wonderful time for romance. I actually think there's not a lot of complaints this month for you romantically, especially because Venus is going to be trining Saturn, and that can bring about romantic commitments, which is lovely because Venus in your sign and Saturn there, for me, that's people you can grow with. You know, Saturn in Capricorn, yes, it's travel and it's expansion. It's people that you can really gel with intellectually. If you're a very intellectual, thoughtful Taurus, you will be most unhappy if you pen yourself in a field with someone who doesn't stimulate you mentally, particularly with Uranus transiting. So make sure that you're dating people, if you're single, that are more in tune with your mental needs, you know, the people that you can discuss things with, and not necessarily all about aesthetics, because attracting people physically, not going to be a problem for you, Taurus. It's more to do with making sure that they meet your standards. You know, if you meet somebody, you want to make sure this month that it can go long term. And you may also realize with Venus in your sign how vulnerable you feel and how fearful you are of getting hurt. But it really favors partnerships, particularly with the full moon in Scorpio. Illuminating what is deep within you. Scorpio is your partnership sign. If you need advice from people, seek out Scorpios, seek out people who thrive on intensity. If it's something you're trying to incorporate in your life, you want a more intimate relationship, or you want more depth and passion, they're the people to call. Okay, so it's actually a really beautiful month, Taurus, for you. I would schedule as much into this month as you can to make the most of it, to enjoy it, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I'm going to do some cards for you. I'm still going to be using the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit at the end. I hope you're all enjoying it or getting something new from it. Last month for you was all about the dragonfly. So let's see, Taurus. Oh. Now the King of Cups flipped over. We'll see if he comes out again. But the King of Cups is Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. It can represent that Scorpio full moon, or it can represent a water sign in your life if you know one. Six of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Lovers, the Fool, and the Tower. Now, isn't that interesting to see the Tower, Taurus? King of Wands, Page of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles. Huh. Wow. Draw one more. Three of Cups, yeah. Well, a shock turns into a very pleasant surprise. Now, the Tower is very Uranus oriented, so I'm not totally surprised. I know that it comes as a shock when you see it at first, but the pattern that follows usually has some sort of indication. Now, bear in mind, the Lovers is in the positive position. I'm just going to move this here so you can see all of these. Positive position, challenging position is the Fool. So yes, although Uranus is bringing you change, you are still a little bit hesitant to the new beginning, as it were. The thing about this is I can see very clearly where this problem lies, and it is in the fear of change. When you fear change, I think the Tower oftentimes will come up for fixed signs because they do resist the idea of enhancing something or restructuring or reorganizing something that they feel if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The problem with that mentality is that you can allow things to build up, to build up, to build up, and then they collapse even if they've looked fine for a very long time. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of maintenance in your life, Taurus. And I spoke about this last month when I was talking about, you know, my father being a Taurus and how he holds on to the oldest furniture and antiques and things like that long past their use by date, really, because that is a Taurian trait. And the Tower comes up when you've been neglecting to move with the times, because if you build something on a false structure, or you ignore it, you ignore the essential renovations, that's when this happens. And in the unfortunate case of Notre Dame, for example, because I was discussing this yesterday, renovations can sometimes be very destructive, and that can be a problem with old structures. You know, I'm very drawn to the architecture of this, and I am sort of thinking of Notre Dame a little bit when I think of the flames and I think of this. So something very, very beautiful and old and spiritual has unfortunately lost a piece of itself, and although the cause is unknown, it is sort of a metaphor for leaving things that are old for possibly too long. Now, I don't know the structure of the renovations, but this is what I'm sort of thinking. The wonderful thing about this, Taurus, this particular spread, now the Lover's in the positive position, Venus is in your sign, makes perfect sense. What at first appears to be the unraveling or the destruction is actually only just the beginning. And the reason I say that is because there appears to be, maybe it's a fire sign, maybe it's an Aries, maybe it's a Leo, it's a Sagittarius, or maybe it's your business head, maybe it's your business mentality, because the King of Wands can be that too. He can be your most dominant passion. But it's something that you are in love with. So yes, it can be a person for sure, or it could be a project, or it could be a topic, but you're in love with this because the Lovers is here, Page of Cups is here. I do think for many of you, the Page of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the presence of the King and the Three of Pentacles suggests building a relationship to last. Now it may have come after some very heavy discussions or some very troubling times. But for me, I see the Three of Pentacles as the building of a solid foundation. You know, it's starting over with help. Maybe the tower was built all by yourself and you're realizing that you couldn't possibly do that again, and then in comes the King of Wands, and he's the type of person, he's the type of energy that says we can get this done. A lot of people, when they see a problem, will say that's impossible. And the King of Wands is just not one of those people. It's more the energy of saying it can be done, so it will be done, rather than no, it can't. So the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups indicates a great deal and a great system of support surrounding you, Taurus. As I said, you're going to be incredibly popular. I also think the confidence coming in from all the first house activity, as well as Mars in the third, is bringing you this sense of purpose. So the Knight of Swords in your fear or your hopes, that's a tricky part of this. You could be hoping to rush things forward, or you could be afraid of rushing things too quickly. Something comes as a surprise, and it may be following on from the Sun-Uranus conjunction in April, or it could be to do with the Mercury-Uranus conjunction in May. I do think the Tower moment is Uranus really putting some kind of unexpected twist into your the story of your life, as it were. Now, the Fool and the Challenge. The Fool and the Challenge is very typical. It's that first step. In fact, it's numbered 0. I think it is the moment before the first step. So it's the idea, it's the plan. He travels light. And that may be the challenge in itself. Perhaps the challenge for you, Taurus, is baggage. Feeling as though you cannot possibly travel light into the next chapter. And maybe there is a bit of demolition involved in that. Maybe that's what the Tower is. Releasing what no longer serves you so you can bring in this next chapter. I couldn't possibly see the King of Wands being a problem when he's followed by the Page of Cups. Do you understand what I mean? I cannot see it that way. For instance, yes, possibly Taurus, you are separating from a fire sign and finding love in other areas, finding love with somebody else. that's always a possibility. You could be separating from anybody. Bear in mind the King of Cups came up at the beginning. There's the water sign energy. The Tower can mean it. I personally have only ever seen the Tower be a destruction of the old way. I've seen it come up for relationships that have ended temporarily and been restored, so I'm reluctant to put a complete definite on it, as I would be with a general reading anyway. For me personally, I read this as being something necessary, and it's something that you've resisted, but I can't help but feel with the Lovers in the positive position, this is moving forward. And I've neglected the Six of Swords here. I'm aware of that. Again, this concept of moving on to the next chapter with somebody. You know, the Six of Swords isn't particularly lonely. In fact, there's a man, a woman, and a child. And they're moving forward to somewhere new over the water. So you could be relocating and you might find changes very difficult or very destructive or very strange. It's the change that gets you, and I do think it's the lack of baggage that you fear, Taurus. With this much energy in the first house, it is time to let go, okay? Venus in Scorpio, not Venus in Scorpio, the full moon in Scorpio. Venus is in your sign. The vibe that I see there really is that if you can release painful baggage from your partnerships, you'll be able to go forward understanding what it is that you want in a partner. Because if you determine what you want based on your baggage, you will probably not be able to make a concrete decision. Do you know what I mean? You won't be able to tap into that subconscious that tells you what you really want in somebody. You'll be more focusing on what happened, and we know with the law of attraction that what you focus on is what you receive. So if you are holding on to baggage, you're going to manifest much of the same. So I think this full moon in Scorpio in your partnership sign could be a bit of a release moment, Taurus, to bring you something wonderful. I do see a lot of you entering a relationship. I think a king and a page oftentimes to me heralds somebody that has something to offer, because pages are all about messages. They're oftentimes news, and I do think a lot of you, possibly Taurus, are getting news about something worth celebrating with the three of cups here. So let's dive into the animal spirit deck and see what comes up for you, Taurus. The oyster. Do you know, I think pearl is a Taurus stone, isn't it? Could be the May stone. I think it is. No, pearl is June, possibly. But I think it might be a Taurus stone too. I'm not sure. But so it could be representing a Gemini. In fact, actually the Lovers here and the Knight of Swords may represent Gemini, but bear with me. The oyster. The oyster is all about the most beautiful part of you being the inside and being able to open up and reveal what is lurking beneath and not being afraid of it. I did say with Venus in your sign, you may be realizing how vulnerable you are. Now, according to the book, the oyster is patient, secret keeper, hiding inner treasures. The focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. Now, have you ever heard more Venus Taurus words, grace and charm? The only problem is oyster types often take their inner gifts for granted. They become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires and life's work. When the oyster card appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. What is it that you've been hesitant to share the world is waiting to see? So when you're in balance, you feel blessed, you feel generous, and you feel masterful. When out of balance, you feel reluctant, gripping, and clams up. To bring into balance, share something. So, Taurus, Page of Cups. there is a sharing vibe. In fact, the Three of Cups and the Three of Pentacles are all about sharing, so that word makes perfect sense. The word, let's talk about treasures, because that word came up a lot in the Oyster card. Someone wants to enjoy treasures with you. Now, we talked about baggage, and I did say you're afraid of not having your baggage with you. You know, the Taurus words are I possess. You can possess treasures without possessing baggage, and it's knowing the difference between the two. How much of your memories are treasures and how much are baggage, and can you separate the two? The Lovers is someone who wants to share the treasures with you, and as you can see, these two people are completely nude. They're not bringing along baggage. They are just completely embracing you for who you are authentically. Someone wants to share your treasures, and the thing about it is the treasures come from within. They are not baggage. Know the difference this month between what is baggage and what is a treasure. And if you maybe remove some baggage, you could be making room for the treasure. There's a lot of people that want to help you this month. A lot of people want to support you. Be prepared to have intense moments of popularity where you feel very welcome, where you are, where you feel very wanted, and where you feel the most Taurus that you could. And what's wonderful about Taurus season is that when we move into Gemini season on the 21st and we have all the Gemini energy, because it's your second house, we still have more Taurian vibes as your second house sign. So do not worry about that. This season is slightly prolonged for you. We do have Uranus being in your sign too, giving you the incentive to shake things up a little bit. I also want to make reference, it is a wonderful time for Taurus people to come forward on the rights of females and the rights of animals. Both are obvious within this reading. The Three of Cups is a sisterhood type of energy. The Fool has the little dog. It is a wonderful time to be the voice of those types of people. Being the voice of people who need their lack of rights acknowledged in general. That's not subject just to women or just to dogs. It is fighting for equality, basically. And I think Taurus, with the revolutionary planet Uranus in your sign, you are the dominant voice. So although Mars is in Cancer, and yes, it can make you a bit more aggressive in your tone or your opinion, sometimes Taurus, that's the only thing that gets it moving. But I do think with the Oyster, you can do anything with grace and charm. Okay, so for the most part, especially with Mercury in your sign, I think you're going to be a lot of people's knight in shining armor. And I think the feeling is mutual, and a lot of people want to be yours. So isn't that nice? Do not fear the Tower moment. Whatever it is in May, it is temporary. I do think it is discovering what is baggage and what is treasure. So I love you guys very much. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this reading, Taurus. And I will probably be posting extended readings on Vimeo too, going into more love energies, connecting with the animal spirit a little bit more. And if you want to join me there for an extended piece, you're more than welcome to do so. So love you guys. Bye.